Michael, how are you? Right?
I'm going to continue with this meeting, even though it's being recorded. And Vinnie's in Seattle, Washington, where people are walking around the streets with the perception that they live in a free country, when in reality, they're just one suburban ride away from total destruction.
And Michael is in Pasadena, where people have felt that they are free since probably about 1952, 53, somewhere near, at least at the opening of Pasadena City College.
The Truman administration, followed by the great Eisenhower years, were very good for Pasadena.
So how did you like the Godfather 4 yesterday?
It was how to not run a business. It was a primer on how not to be a CEO, how not to be the top of the heap, how not to operate. But it is a very good example of how to be Donnie from Queens. Does not always work in social situations. What's wrong with him? That's Donnie from Queens. Oh, I've heard about him.
Donnie from Queens, man.
He's not good in social situations. And he likes to drive, apparently, even though his talent is limited in that regard. You know, a backseat driver of the worst kind, like a presidential backseat driver.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably got to be shocking to the Secret Service when the guy you protected turns around and tries to grab your neck.
And these are two of the guys that were devoted to him, who were Trump heads, who had made it known that they would not support Joe Biden. Not that they wouldn't serve him, they wouldn't support him. And these are the guys that he turns on in an instant, without any regard for what they may be able to do to save him down the line. When the shooting starts later that day, where are those guys going to be, and where's Donnie from Queens going to be?
Well, you know, the thought that crossed my mind yesterday, Michael, was suppose Trump would have grabbed this guy and put his life in somewhat danger, which he was already. We may have had our first assassination of a president by a Secret Service guy. Not that he would have done the whole world a favor, but...
I always say put one in the leg, because regardless of what you see on TV, one in the leg is more than enough to stop Donnie from Queens.
Yeah. Oh, I think a good smack would have been enough to
how has he avoided that
Donnie
all these years?
Queens.
Acting the way he acts to men in power, how has he avoided being just knocked down the stairwell? How has that not happened yet? How is that everybody around him covers for him and protects him and writes off his bad manners and writes off his violence and writes off his rhetoric and writes off his disregard for human. I put down that he is capable of murder and manslaughter. He proved that yesterday.
Yeah.
He's capable of putting anybody in danger with no regard for it, a willful disregard of life and limb. What would he do to you on the day of on the 6th? What would he have done to you? Anything.
Remember when he was first elected president? Oh God, we've all been trying to forget it, but I'll bring it up here. He was first elected president, and people were jumping on him because people that knew him knew what he was. People, if you grew up in New York, you followed him at all, you knew what he was. So people started circulating this story. I don't know if you remember it, but it got on social media. I could almost guarantee you now that it was written by some Russian guy in Moscow or something like that. But there was this story going around, and several of my Trump friends sent it to me, about one night coming back from Long Island, Trump's limo is speeding along in Howard Beach along Conduit Boulevard or something like that. And the limo sees this guy, and he's pulled off to the side of the road, and his car is up on the jack, but the jack is falling. And the limo goes past the car, stops, and backs up, pulls behind this guy's car. The guy is black, by the way.
No.
And who gets out but Donald Trump?
Donnie of Queens.
And helps the guy change his tire.
No. He can't eat pizza. He can't change a tire. No.
I mean, and there's people that believed this. There's people that looked at this story. I looked for it yesterday on my going back to my feed, and there were people that actually believed this story and would send you notes or oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This is a good man. He's a benevolent man. He's a wonderful guy. He likes kids. He likes animals. He likes
Ah,
young animals.
yes.
But you couldn't get drive home the point to these people
But
that this
Vinny,
guy was a narcissist. He was of the highest order. He was a sociopath of the highest order, and he cared nothing about anybody but himself.
let him in. Let the people in with the weapons. I'm going to be fine. They're not here to see me. They're here to shoot this place up.
Uh, they're not here to get me, but if they get you, well, hey,
That would be terrible. And we would really regret that, but we'll get somebody else.
you have a
But
friend that can drive this limo.
think of all the people that work around him in the White House just that day, just the day we heard about, just January 6th. People who are educated and have law degrees and have experience on the Hill and have legislative experience and have election experience and have all this wealth of knowledge that's gotten them to the White House. And they're covering for this guy on a daily basis. They're quiet down the mess, pick up the ketchup, get the plate out of the way. He'll be fine. He's a little upset. He's just a little upset with Bill Barr, but we got this taken care of. Let the weapons through quietly so they can join the march because we're going down. No, you're not going. Yeah, we're going down. And the closest people, the most powerful, the lawyers and advisors and closest allies cover for him, won't talk, take the fifth, assume that they are guilty too. They know what evil that they aided and abetted. They know what they put together with that man. They know how dark and close they got. And that's why Mark Meadows was sitting on the couch. He said, in a couple hours, we'll know. I'm not doing anything. We'll know in a couple hours. We'll figure out if they take the Hill or not. And Trump wants to go. And what if he had? What if that Secret Service guy who loves him so much would said, yeah, why not? We'll drive. We'll make one lap. We'll just go down and take a look. We'll take one lap.
Right around like we did outside the hospital, so they don't really see you.
That's it. You wave and I'll keep going and it'll be good. AK-15s, or whatever they are, AR-15s.
AR-15s, AK-47s, homemade bombs. And we still haven't found out who the pipe bomber is yet.
Nope, don't know who that person is.
Could be Donnie Jr., could be Uday or Kusei.
Not really a good chance of that because it required stealth.
Yeah.
And there you go, right there.
Brains.
And brains, or any combination thereof. And that just doesn't exist in either Eric, who accidentally left the tape machines on, so we have recordings of everything, and Don Jr., who is so far behind that he's doing champagne and cocaine when it was in the
70s and 80s, right?
Reagan administration was for that. He missed the whole thing.
Well, like father, like son, right?
Yep.
I am so I don't know. I'm so disappointed in people who, okay, now you've seen all of this, you've heard all of this. This woman is credible. She was there. She was in the rooms. She was. You've had finally come up with somebody with enough nerve to stand up and say, this is what happened. Now, let's not make her a hero. She didn't stand up while it was going on and say it happened. She waited until, the book deal, like everybody else.
Well, they had a caller. Remember, she testified on video during the pandemic. We don't know how early she testified, but it was a good deal of her testimony has already been taken. And then she appeared live to bolster it. So I don't know how cooperative she was at the beginning, but when she was asked to appear, she had legal representation, not the one that they gave her, not the Trump lawyer. She had to replace that lawyer with a real lawyer. And that's when they started talking. That's when the truth came out.
Well, I mean, you have, and when Liz Cheney was kind of intimated it in the, intimated, she actually said it in the in her closing remarks yesterday, that that these people are being threatened.
Oh yeah.
That this is, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't walk in with this woman's brother sitting between Trump and Donnie.
Donnie from Donnie from Queens always has Michael Cohen calling up to threaten the school or the doctor or the other lawyer or anybody from downtown or the inspection commission or the page 6 editor. Doesn't matter who it is. The first thing you do is threaten them and get them upset.
Well, I mean, this is stuff that if you grew up in New York or you felt you do it, you knew that this was his MO. You knew that this is how this guy operated. Chances are, if you were in the construction business or in city government, or knew people that were in city government, you had heard a story about Trump and about some one of his goons or some of his people or his lawyers either threatening somebody or making things so difficult for you that you would walk away from money that he owed you.
Which is, how much money does that man owe around the city right now? Take the 5 boroughs.
Oh, I mean, I don't know how much, but I'll tell you, he certainly owes. I'll give you a guess that he owes 1,000 people in each borough money.
He owes 1,000 people in each project money, wherever he's got money, wherever he's got an investment going. Any active hotels, any active country clubs. If you're doing maintenance on his greens, if you're cleaning in the kitchen, if you're cooking banquet meals, he owes you money.
Well, because he always had a philosophy that people will do things for him because he's Donald Trump.
They're suckers.
They'll let him into the club because he's Donald Trump. They'll do this. They'll bang him because he's Donald Trump. They'll do anything that he wants purely because they get a chance to serve the master.
Yep.
That's it. Now listen.
I don't get it. I cannot understand it, because to me he seems like such a joke.
I get it because we've experienced that to a certain degree as well. When you have a personality, when you are a personality, when you are somebody who is in the public eye, there are always people who want to curry your favor for whatever reason, because they like to say they know you, because they like you to stop by their stall once in a while. But the difference is, this is a guy who continually entered into contracts with people and then refused to pay.
Yep.
And there's a big difference there. There's difference between somebody doing something for you because they like you and they want you to like them. They want to say they know you. Maybe they want you to mention their store or something like that. And what basically amounts to theft for people, because I'm Donald Trump, so you should do this for me.
I'll take the suit and 2 pair of pants. Thank you.
Yeah. Just because, not because I'm going to endorse you, not because I'm going to help you, not because I'm going to give you a pair of tickets to a nice show in one of the theaters down in Atlantic City that I own. Just because I'm Donald Trump.
And there's nothing coming to you. The suit I get. For you, nothing.
You're going to sleep with me because I'm Donald Trump.
It's a deal. What do you say?
Talk about narcissism. Talk about a sense of entitlement. And what I can't understand is why people who he does this to, the more he does it, the more they seem to stick up for him.
Nobody pokes him. Nobody deflates him. Nobody criticizes him. Nobody turns him in. Nobody turns on him in at all. They just remain in a crouched position around the Mein Führer. Oi, Mein Führer.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an odd. I mean, I'm sure that there are sociological people that are studying this up and down and sideways to try to figure out what this phenomena is of people. So, I mean, Jim Jones, he was promising you a better place, a better life.
It was
Uh,
was promised.
yeah, the Rajneesh there down in Oregon, he was promising people a piece of land and a better life. Name all of these. Charles Manson was promising you that you would be on the good side of the race war.
And maybe get to go on tour with the Beach Boys.
Yeah, and maybe get to hang out with Dennis. But what has Trump promised anybody? What has he said? He's going to make America great again. America wasn't bad before you got here. It might have had its quirks and its bumps.
Well, he still hasn't done it. You see,
He could do it.
So he needs 4 more years to make America great, and we're almost there. We're so close to being great. And what would push us over the top would be, of course, re-electing Donald Trump as president. That would push us right over the top, over the edge, down the. Where when the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner get run off the cliff.
Yeah.
And they're off the cliff and they don't know they're off the cliff, but we know they're off the cliff and they're in the middle of nowhere. And then they realize it and they fall a long way. In real life, when Donnie does that, when it finally happens to him, he's done. But in cartoons, there's always this hope of, I can take the punch. And Donnie says, no matter what they say about me, no matter how awful that they are, I'll just say, false news, crazy people, don't know who they are. They have no basis in reality. New York, Vinnie, never heard of him. No, he's not even from New York. I'm from Queens. I would know him if he was from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would have seen him at the supermarket.
I don't know him. So forget about it.
So, yeah, I mean, it's an astounding thing to me. It's an astounding study in human beings to see that there is anybody that would stick with this guy. And especially if they don't have a vested interest. Now, I can understand, I don't know, name somebody from his illustrious staff there.
Mark Meadows, what did Mark
Meadows sticking with him? Because if he doesn't, he's going to get sold out. Although, again, I don't think Meadows has stuck with him. I think we're all going to be shocked when we find out that Meadows is the guy that's tipping off the committee to all of this stuff.
Well, Meadows has got some legal problems ahead. And if he wants him to go away, he has to make his deal. And he hasn't done it that we know of. But you could be right, man. He could be deep throat.
I think he's the guy. They're calling her the John Dean, but I think there's another component in this. I think Meadows is probably the John Dean that's probably cut a deal and is doing his talking through this loyal 25-year-old kid who's going to be living a very different life today than she was when she walked in that room yesterday.
My advice is stay in your sweats, take notes on everything coming in, and because the book that you're going to write starts today.
Yeah, and maybe you want to call up Frank Serpico and ask him a couple of questions about living in Sweden or living in some other country, because
Lillehammer.
Unless you were thinking of living at Kmart or something like working at Kmart or Walmart or something like that, your political career is probably DOA.
Well, hey, not necessarily.
But you're not going to need it because your first payment on the book is probably going to be about $3 or $4 million.
And I think she probably does have a career in. I thought broadcasting. I thought, well, why swing so low, right?
Yeah, why get into this business?
Why start hanging around with unsavory people? You've already gotten rid of Donald Trump. Now you want to?
Haven't you done that enough?
So if it's not broadcasting, then it's punditry, or she has to advise on elections, or she has to advise on the next how to run the White House, an inside advisor job. I think she could be valuable to anybody whoever is going to be our next president, which right now
Yeah,
Is it Joe
I
Biden?
see
Is it
that.
Donald
Yeah,
Trump? Or
yeah,
or is it anybody else?
yeah. I see that. I see that that there's a uniqueness there to what she knows and how she knows it and how it all works, and her um, being on a first name basis with so many people there that that she can carve a career, a good career out of that. But from what I've heard about her, and I have, I mean, I haven't done a lot of looking, but um, I can't remember her name, but the one of the press secretaries was on CNN yesterday and was talking about how they were good buds
Mhm.
in the White House, and she said the only thing this woman wanted to do was to serve her country.
Yep. She was a patriot.
Wanted to be somebody who was going into it for the public service part of it, not particularly the politics part of it. Now, who knows? It's hard to believe that anybody today would go to Washington. You'd have to have a mighty big conviction calendar to go to Washington today and not be swayed by money or corruption or sex or
Power.
rock and roll.
Power and position. Think about not making much money, but being in the West Wing every day, where your footsteps from the dining room, from the Oval Office, from the chief of staff, from the vice president's office, from everybody. You're right. That your little desk is right in the middle of that.
It's kind of the same as hey, put these records away for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I want them alphabetical, if you don't mind.
Yeah, put them in alphabetical and right side up. Make sure you wipe them down before you put them back.
And Jethro Tull goes under J, not T, and I ain't going to tell you that again.
Right. But there are people who are attracted to being close to the action.
Yep.
And she seems to be one of those. I wish only the best for her. I think she did a brave thing. I think it would have been braver of her to do it while it was going on, but who knows what would have happened then. She might have been a picture of of a body found on the banks of the Potomac.
One thing that we did find out yesterday, and it's sort of minor league, but it may become more major of a factor later, is that Mike Pence was right not to get into that Secret Service car, to be spirited away from the Capitol, because the boys that were involved were all not just Secret Service, but Donald Trump Secret Service, Praetorian Guards, SS, inside power brokers. They didn't take orders from the Constitution or the good old USFA or anything related to it. They were part of the power inside team, loyal to Trump alone, not to the US, not to the Constitution, not to their oath, not to their boss, not to their paymaster. They were loyal to Trump in a cultish power struggle sort of way. And they heard him say, Mike Pence, would it be so bad? He brought it on himself.
Yep.
What can I do? I can't stop it. Maybe they're right. Maybe the people are right. Pence should die. And if we don't hang him, let's get those weapons down to the Capitol. Maybe somebody in the Proud Boys, somebody in it can shoot straight. We'll get him. We'll get him. It won't take long. And we'll get Pelosi. And then we'll see who else we shoot up. And then I'll walk around and bless their effort and say, we won't be using this place anymore. I think I'll move in a nice apartment for me. The White House is a little crowded. I think I'll just live here on the Capitol because we're not going to be using it for anything else.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I don't need 435 elected representatives. I don't need 100 senators.
Because they just slow down the action. They slow everything down.
Yeah, I don't need all of that because all the orders are going to be coming from right here.
Yep. But let's have lunch, and I want more, and I'm going to need a little more ketchup.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have to read you on my Facebook page. Of course, I posted this. What piffy little thing did I post here? Sorry, but I find today's testimony less than credible. We all know that President Slapdick never threw away a meal in his life.
Yeah.
So, of course, 3 comments down, I get this one guy who is unabashedly a Trump guy, um, salesperson at a radio station I used to work at. And his comment is, really, Vinnie, you're still hanging in there with the biggest moron ever to be in the White House. By the way, one word, White House. In my life, Joe Biden, not to mention the most corrupt. You should be apologizing to America for voting for Biden.
So what about? Do you think Trump's stupid? Well, what about other stupid people?
It's the same argument once again. It's all the same crap. Don't reflect. Don't let it rest on him. Deflect it over to somebody else. Pull up another name.
It could be anybody.
And then
I want to thank General Kelly for whatever his name is. What's the general who did the fifth and the fifth and the fifth?
Oh, you mean 25?
Yeah.
We got 45. We got 25 because he invoked the fifth 5 times. It's all a numbers game. That's Flynn.
Yeah, Flynn. That's brand new territory. I'm going to invoke the fifth multiplied by the fifth and subtracting the ninth and see how you like that.
Flynn looks like he's been standing near too many rifle ranges in his life.
He was a little tentative there in terms of reality. Fifth.
Well, and that seems to be what they have. I mean, that seems to be the people that get into these high up positions with Trump seem to be out of touch with reality.
Oh, wow. Isn't that true?
If you look at just some of these.
Look at Rudy. Woo, Rudy.
I mean, Rudy looks like, Rudy's a psycho. He's certifiable.
He's got problems.
He's used the hair dye once too much. Once too many times. You look at some of these other clowns that are around him. Who was the little guy, the Nazi? Miller.
Yes, Miller. Mr. Miller.
Yeah, he looked. There's a guy that looked dangerous. He had that same gaunt kind of high cheekbones, white boy look. Like
he's the type of guy.
Psycho.
The type of evil person who would thrive in the environment that we see in the West Wing. Remember they called it Trump world? When you went to work in the West Wing, you were entering Trump world. That's the way Cassidy Hutchinson described it. That's the way the people who lived there and worked there under his withering influence described it. It's not reality. It's not the White House. He's not the president. We just all live in Trump world.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a parallel or alternative. Who was it? God, the crazy woman that was his press secretary. I mean, all of the press secretaries were a little off the charts. I mean, Sarah Huckabee Sanders there.
Holy moly.
That was, that was an experience. And then the woman who replaced her was a psycho. And then the last one, Kayleigh McEnany. Off the charts.
And she was loyal to him through all sorts of ups and downs. Even before he was president, she was part of the committee to elect him and part of the support team to sustain him and to tell him that even though he was an idiot, things were going to work out because he was going to make America great somehow, some ill-defined way, with no plans, with no platform, with no initiative, with no legislative plan, no legislative committee, no nothing that he could call his own in terms of a policy.
He couldn't, he couldn't. He had 4 years to change Obamacare. Had 4 years, and he didn't do anything. What did he do to it? Nothing.
Well, Vinny, if you'll just wait 2 weeks, I've got good news for you.
Yeah. So anyway, again, we know all of this stuff about Trump. What I want to see now is I want to see this lawyer come in and I want her to back this woman up, him to back this woman up.
What lawyer?
Pat Cipollino.
That would be nice.
Actually, I think it'd be nice if they got Cipollino and Calamari to testify on the same day, and then they could take a lunch break in between too.
Calamari sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah, remember Calamari, the Lord Joe Calamari, one of his lawyers. All of his lawyers look like mobbed up people.
All his lawyers ain't lawyers, and he's not going to pay them anyway. So why should I go to law school and devote all that time and energy to something that I'm not going to get paid for anyway? Mr. Trump does things a little differently.
I mean, at the end of this, he's probably going to trot out Joe Pesci as one of his lawyers. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But how now do you go? Listen, I can understand that you got duped by Trump. I can understand that you followed him in a want to, because he sold you a bill of goods that he was going to make America great again.
Yeah, actually, we have to sell ourselves because he doesn't have a bill of goods. So we have to imagine a bill of goods and sell it to ourselves.
I can understand. I can understand the hero worship. I can understand that he's talking like the average sports talk caller on a show. I can understand that hate will always, these days, it seems, trump love. There will always, these days, have more of an effect on people in loving good deeds that go on every day. I understand all of that, but what I still can't understand is how a guy like my friend here can still look at this guy and say, he's a good guy. This guy, you say what you want about Joe Biden, he's not a moron. He's not, he's actually somebody who appears to be in this for public service. I don't even know if all of that was true his entire career or not. I know that at one time he had the plagiarism thing and all of that stuff going on. But I think at the core of Joe Biden is a desire to help people. There's no desire with Trump. But how do you now stick with him? How do you today, after that hearing, after watching that, after what Trump tweeted afterwards, or he didn't tweet it, he socially mediated it. What's his thing? Him and the pillow guy.
The Family Hour website, whatever it's called.
Is it True Social?
Truth and Ketchup, I think, is the .com. Truth and Ketchup.
Yeah, it kind of gives a whole new meaning to catch up with you later.
And I want you to know that I got some ketchup the other day, thinking of you, because I got the sliders, and I was thinking, Vinny's not going to let me eat these unless I have ketchup. So I got ketchup. But when I was finished, I did not throw my plate. And when I was distributing the ketchup, I did not think, well, there's probably somebody at the White House who would clean this mess up. All I have to do is just have something to eat, toss the rest, ketchup on the wall, mind you. Because Bill Barr, my attorney general, decided to act like a real lawyer instead of a sycophant. And it drives me crazy when people who I have pegged as being followers turn into be independents. We're not having any of that. We're not tolerating that.
Now, it's just the scene of just the president of the United States picking up a plate full of whatever it is that he's eating and throwing it up against the wall.
Pasta Azul.
It's just so, I mean, it's just something you don't expect somebody like, I mean, I could see him banging on the table and this, that, the other thing, but good God.
What you need is like a desk in the middle there where like half the cast from Barney Miller sits and just does slow takes and nodding and pointing. Oh, like, watch this, watch this. Here comes another one. Here comes watch this one.
Yeah, we needed fish as a nation yesterday. We needed fish.
To calm us, to get us back on track, to say,
Right.
I know it seems.
Vigoda is the guy we need now.
Abe Vigoda
would be.
I'd vote for him.
Well, unfortunately, Mikey, I believe he's dead. Although I didn't for many years.
Well, tell Mike.
Somehow Abe Vigoda was still alive.
Did he ever get that message to Mike that it wasn't personal? Did that ever get to Mike?
Well, yeah. Have you ever read the, have you ever read, you know, there's a whole slew of books that kind of take the Corleone family into the, you know, into the present day. And one of those books has a scenario where it tells you how he died, how he was murdered, that he was taken to a garage in Brooklyn. And because he was such an old family friend, he was treated better than any other of the rats that Michael found out about. I think he was taken to a garage in Brooklyn and just shot once in the back of the head.
It could have been much worse, Sally.
Yeah. I mean, usually that kind of stuff they torture you for. They kill you, they get you right to death, and then they bring you back again. Then they kill you, then they do it again, and they do it over a series of weeks. So that you literally die 1,000 deaths.
Every damn day I'm going to die. But today's not the day you're going to die. Today's just the day you're going to die.
You're going to practice for it.
Yeah. We're going to get the hang of it. You'll see.
Yeah, we're going to figure out what we can do. We're going to cut your butt open and put some honey in there and then lay out in the field.
Ooh, here come the carpenter ants.
Ooh.
And the red ants.
And once they start working on you,
they do not give up.
So what's our takeaway here, Mikey? What do we, you know, the committee is now, of course, I don't know who's advising this committee, but it's definitely a TV guy, because yesterday you had the special edition that left you with the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I was really good. It's like Netflix is producing.
Yeah, there's more to come. There's more to come. And one of the takeaways I have is that be careful what you think you're going to do and how events have a way of changing it. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Angel right-handed pitcher who wanted to get involved with the Angel Mariners fight broke his elbow on the way to the fight because he couldn't get out of the dugout. He decided to go over the rail, caught his cleats, came down hard on the arm, broken elbow, out for 6 to 10, whatever the usual thing is. And he thought he was going to go join the fight. He was going to get involved in a physical way and show somebody a thing or two. When what he showed us is that careful how you make your plans for the day. 1 o'clock, about time for the fight. Nope. It's about time for you to break your arm trying to get to the fight, which is what we don't know about. Now, I don't blame this guy any more than anybody else who was involved. He had an emotional reaction and thought that going over the rail was the way to go. Well, it was if you want to break your elbow. So what's he do? What does he think 20 times a day when he looks down at the cast on his arm? And
I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have done it.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, you know the composition of a baseball fight. It's not about the fight.
No.
It's about showing that you're with your teammates, that you are a part of them, that you are, you know, it's like I don't know. It's like one of these things where you have to prove to your fellow teammates that you're a part of that. So that's why you have the guys who actually get in there and fight, which are few and far between. And then you have the guys who run from the bullpen because they really don't feel like they're part of the team, but this is maybe the only way that they can demonstrate that we got your back.
You guys are fighting. We'll fight too.
Who are close to the, the dancers who just kind of hold each other so that they don't get involved, jump over the, the proof guys, the running in for the bullpen guys, and try to make themselves look good. And then you have the huggers.
Give me a hug.
Back here, there's always 3 or 4 or 5 guys who are holding each other back.
Hugging is good, but you have to hold the hug. Hold it.
Right. And I think immediately baseball should put a rule that if you put your arms around a guy, that you have to keep him there for a minimum of 30 minutes. You can't just hold a guy and then let him go when the fight's over. You go to his dugout, you go to your dugout, you build a little penalty box.
And you sit
in there.
So if in baseball penalty boxes, do you play with like 2 outfielders, or you're short and you don't have a third baseman, or the catcher? What do you do if the catcher is in the penalty box?
There's a couple of scenarios there. I mean, one, you could just have no catcher and toss the ball a little softer, let them hit it, see where it lands.
Batting practice.
You could be like a few of the 30s cartoons where you throw slow and then the pitcher runs and catches the ball. I think I saw that in a Bugs Bunny once.
Of course.
And or you could allow a substitute catcher. Or again, I kind of like my idea of having somebody who's well beyond their years.
Smokey Burgess.
You put him in the game, you keep somebody like that around. Who's your oldest? How about this? Your oldest living player.
From any time, Vinegar Ben Mizell comes back at 89 years old and gets
your oldest living player. No matter who he is, during the baseball season, you got to bring him to the ballpark, and he sits there.
You got to bring him to the ballpark.
He sits there.
Where's your wait a minute? We're not going to start this game. Where's your old guy? We're bringing him. No, we're not starting till you bring him.
Yeah, you can't. We can't start till you bring him. You have to have an old guy here.
Well, he's in the parking lot. He's coming as fast as he can. Well, no, we're waiting. If he's not in that seat, no pitch.
He's getting his rollator out right now. And so you have him, as the substitute guy. So no matter what, so you can put him in without losing the other person for 30 minutes while he's over there hugging.
You know who's going to love these new rules, Vinny, is the guy who came up with the idea of putting the man at second base in the 10th inning. He's going to say, that New York Vinny, he's got some ideas that baseball needs to incorporate.
I'm hoping that baseball looks at this, because I'm looking at it from a fan standpoint.
You like the hugging.
At it that if you're going to do these stupid rules, at least make them entertaining for people.
The hugging rule. If you hug someone with the idea of keeping them out of a fight, you both have to sit together hugging in the penalty box while Smokey Burgess plays your position. Okay, I'm good with that.
I think we've nailed it. I don't know why we're not making the big bucks making up rules for baseball as we go along.
Well, those are the rules they already use in Spolpakia. Baseball in Spolpakia is similar, but not exactly the way we do it.
Not exactly. It's Spolpakian baseball. It's like, how the rules in rugby are similar to the ones in football.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing.
In Australia, they have football that they made up completely on their own, and they do stuff like this. They're always going like this. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, how long have you practiced?
Well, you want to get it right. And if you get it wrong, you'll be in the penalty box hugging the guy who invented the Spopakian rules. You don't want
And you
that.
look out on the field, and there's
Smokey Burgess.
Smokey Burgess.
Smokey Burgess at shortstop. This is going to get ugly. This is an opportunity to score, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God!
There's a hot one to Smokey, and
Smokey is down.
That's another one. That's another one. It's through into left field. Let's hit the cutoff man. Oh, but the cutoff man is Smokey Burgess.
Smokey. I don't know exactly what's going on here at the ballpark today, but I can tell you that Old Timers Day is going to be canceled this year.
Yeah. We need those guys. Get them in shape.
That's okay. Give me some amphetamines. They'll be okay.
Have you seen Gaylord Perry on amphetamines? That ain't something you want to see.
Oh my God. That's what we want to see. We want to see Smokey Burgess popping a couple of greenies and looking for Eli Gerber in the stands.
Well, Vinny, this has been, I think, a wacky Wednesday. Do you have any plans for a Fractious Friday?
I don't, but I'm pretty. Yeah, what are we gonna do? There's gonna be no kind of hearings or anything. We're gonna have to come up with some stuff on our own.
I'm working on a screenplay about Washington called "They're Not Here to Hurt Me," and you're gonna like the way it comes out because it turns out they were there to hurt him after all. There's a little turn and a little irony, if you can appreciate it.
How about for Friday, we come up with a kind of and I've been thinking about this a while, a football card for the hearings.
Or a collection.
Yeah, no, for the hearings. So we have to put, we have to take odds on the who's going to go to jail, who's going to go free, and who's going to get killed.
I think we're going to find out that the Secret Service guys will disappear. Something odd will happen. They'll just never find them.
They'll become really secret.
Jimmy Hoffa. It'll be so secret, no one will even know they're there or where they are. They won't know where they are.
Well, it's interesting that the Secret Service yesterday it issued a statement saying that their officers, their Secret Service men, are going to cooperate with the committee. They're going to show up and they're going to, tell what happened. And it'll be very interesting to see if their account of what happens jibes with Cassandra's.
And here's what it means. That means that they have to lie during sworn testimony. They have to stand, take the oath, stand before a congressional committee, and lie their little Secret Service butts off.
Well, it presents a conundrum because these are people who are sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, I'm not telling you anything.
I mean, their job is to not tell you what they see, is to protect the president. Right? I mean, that's the gist of it. Have you ever seen a Secret Service agent come out and talk a whole lot about their the exact pieces of what they do? I mean, they give you general vagaries, and of course the Kennedy thing, put that all aside. But even that was 50 years before they all really started talking.
And they've had some trouble in recent years where their advanced men go to Shanghai and get into bar fights, trying to smooth the way for some sort of state visit. All you guys had to do was go and have Chinese food. You couldn't have Chinese food and just take a look around town. No, you had to get into a bar fight. Yeah. They're Secret Service agents.
Well, didn't it just happen with a couple of guys on Biden's detail like a week or two ago?
Yeah, the advanced team for one of his
had to stop advancing, making advances.
The ambassador had to get up in the middle of the night and go get them.
Yeah, never a good thing. Hey, we called you because we got a couple of you guys down here.
Who are they? Well, it's a secret. I'll give you a hint.
Yeah,
it's a secret.
Yeah. It's all a secret. But yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have to. We'll figure that out on Friday, and I'm sure that Friday we'll talk a little bit more about the Oakland Athletics and they're heading
Where are they going?
Vegas.
For sure.
Well, it's not for sure yet, but they cleared the last obstacle, which was the relocation fee.
Are they still going to be the Athletics?
When the Expos went from Montreal to Washington, they had to pay like $280 million or something like that.
Oh yeah, there's a
To
fee.
the other owners as
Yeah.
as a gift.
And it's cheap compared to what the NFL pays. They pay 700, 800 million to get in.
Yeah.
In addition to everything else.
But it looks like, it looks like it's going to happen.
The Vegas A's.
The Vegas A's. Oh my God. Nah, they got to, you know what? If they're going to go there, they should probably change the name of the team to the Tumbling Dice or something like that.
Oh, the Rollers, the Vegas Rollers.
Yeah, the Vegas Rollers. Maybe they should change the name to the St. Louis Browns.
How about the Croupiers?
The Croup.
Better than what Cleveland and Washington have come up with lately.
Yeah, better than the Guardians or the Commanders. Yeah, the Commanders.
I think there's a Commanders in Spokane, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there's. They have two teams in Spokane. They have the Commanders, and then they have
The Spiders.
the Lisvig team. They play the national game, Lisvig, and they can be trouble at times. Mikey, do we still have you? Looks like we lost you. Where did you go, Mikey? All right, listen. We will catch up with you on Friday for Freaky Fractious Friday. Thank you so much for watching our show, listening to our show today. And as I said, we'll catch up with you on Friday if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. And be nice to people, okay? We need it right now. We need people to be nice to other people right now, okay? All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.